Hello, and welcome to the second video in the Getting Started with Marky series. I'm Eli, I'll be your host, and I'm the lead product designer of Marky. Today I'll be showing you how to further set up your profile to be able to generate the content that you're wanting to get out of Marky. For this video, we'll be using CamJohn Travel. They're a business that specializes in helping you plan your cruise ship voyages. So, over in Marky here, we have our first batch of posts that we generated in the previous video. Let's look at how to further customize the type of content Marky's creating. So first, we're going to look at the designs. So here's what it currently generated. I can go into the design tab here and see what my current themes are. Now, on a lot of these pages, there's a little info tooltip here, and you can read more about the technical details about how this works. But for this, the general idea is that a design is chosen from one of your themes. And that's the base template for what a design will look like. Now that gets customized with your text, your colors, your logo, that kind of stuff. But the base structure of the design comes from which themes you have selected. So if I wanted to change up my themes, I can click this Edit Themes button, and I have a whole bunch of themes to choose from. Maybe I want a tropical theme that's kind of travel related. This picnic one is speaking to me, and I'm also liking this wilderness theme. So we'll select those, and we'll save and close. Now I have those themes added to my designs. These will be now used when I generate new posts. Now, let's say I don't want a certain post. That's easy. Maybe I don't care about tweet format posts. I'm going to delete that one. Now let's look at the second step, branding. In brand, you can set your logo. You can set a headshot if you want one. In this case, I don't really care about my headshot, so I'm going to remove that and just use my logo. You can set your logo background. I'll keep it as white, and you can set brand colors. What I often like to do is add multiple brand palettes, so that way I get a little bit more variety in the posts that I generate. So we're going to choose a background color that is similar to my secondary color and make it a darker blue like that. And we'll make the text color white. So that'll be good enough for now. You can also choose fonts. I personally like to keep them as the theme font. We choose fonts that work really well with each theme, but if you have a font that you really want to use with your business, you can use a very specific font or upload your own as well. But for now, we'll just keep those as the defaults. One other thing to mention on the colors here is we do have a bunch of template colors that work pretty well. So if you're not sure about what color palette you want to use, you can always use those template colors. That's everything in regards to how to get your designs to look how you want. Now let's look at how to get your content more on brand. If we go to your business, this is where you'll set a lot of the core information that Marky uses to generate your posts. You want to make sure that all this general information is correct. For me, it looks good. And if you come down here, you can further edit your profile. This is the same one we saw in the onboarding, and this will just help give Marky a better idea about who your business is and who they're targeting. For now, we'll leave that as is as well. Now you can go into the voice, and here you can edit a lot of how Marky talks, and it'll try to use this voice of your business. So the tone of CamJohn Travel, warm, inviting, knowledgeable, personalized approach to travel planning while showcasing expertise in luxury adult cruises. So let's add some information here about how we want to use some humor in our writing and how we want to emphasize that it's going to be a super relaxing time. So I updated this to say we use humor to put people at ease and like to emphasize how relaxing and re-energizing our cruises are. Of course, you can edit whatever you want and make that sound just like you and like your business. Now there's also these call to actions. Marky likes to look at these and pull these in when appropriate for your posts. You can also add, if you like to use certain hashtags always, so maybe we'll add hashtag cruise to all our posts, and that will just get included at the end of our posts. And you can add any additional instructions that you want Marky to adhere to. So in this case, maybe we want it to always say a little joke at the end of the post. So always add a short joke at the end. We'll see how that does. You can also add writing samples that help Marky know your style, and you can choose what language Marky writes those posts in. And that's the first part about how to get your captions closer to what you're going for. These business settings are the underlying context that Marky uses to understand your business and your voice. But there's one other big part in the process that Marky uses when generating content, and that's topics. So let's look at that. In topics, Marky generates by default 10 topics to start with. Think of a topic as a general idea of what you're posting on. Maybe you're posting about how to create an itinerary when you're traveling. Maybe you're wanting to post about how impactful traveling is in a life and the great experience that traveling brings to people. This is the idea of topics. They're the main bulk ideas of what kind of content you even want to post. And that's the main idea of how topics work. Now, if you want to change what kind of content Marky's posting on, that's where you're going to be looking at topics. If you want to change the general style that Marky is writing in, that's where you're going to want to look at your business settings and your voice settings. Now, in these topics, you can click into them, you can edit the title, you can add categories, or type in a description. And Marky's going to be looking at both the description and the title to understand what this topic is about and how to write it. You can also use categories to organize your topics. It's common in the social media world to have a few, about 3 to 5 social media pillars. And the pillars are your content pillars. And they're kind of the big buckets that you're going to be posting on. Maybe for a travel agency, I'll be talking about, our customer service, maybe our main product offerings about what we offer. Maybe we offer cruise line advising or just your own personal trip advising. So that could be a category. And then maybe we have a category just about the world in general and all the cool places in the world to help encourage people's wanderlust and get people to have come up with an idea to travel. To create categories, you just go up here. You can type in a new category name, even give it colors, and then you can organize your topics into those categories. So with all those settings set, let's go back to posts and let's generate some new posts. I'm going to click generate posts and we'll let that load. And it's starting to generate some of the first posts. You'll notice that this is using that new color palette, and we got some different options here. Some of these are using the new palette, some the older one. And you'll notice that this is that new theme that we enabled in the settings. There's that nature theme. Great. So I'm getting some more variation in the types of posts. There's the tropical theme. So let's look into one of these. I'll look at the caption. Let's see. So looking at this caption, it says, "What's your non-negotiable cruise must-have? P.S. If your answer is 24-hour room service, we're officially best friends." So it's getting those instructions, that joke at the end there, it's doing that pretty well. It has that hashtag cruise that we talked about, and it's looking pretty good. This is the basics of how to start customizing your Marky profile to generate content more in line with what you're going for. And we'll go more in depth about some other ways you can customize Marky in the following videos. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.